global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
The media space was shocked when Rudeboy, one of the partners in the PSquare brand, Paul, came all out to tell Nigerians, their fans, and the world at large that his brother, his twin brother, Peter, had reported him to EFCC, the Economic Financial Crime in Nigeria, over an allegation of fraud. Of course, he went ahead and explained further that he did answer the call and they found him free and they released him. Of course, he didn't sit down well with most Nigerians and fans, and they were really shocked that his twin brother Peter would go out to that level and to that length to tarnish the image of his brother. And this is the beginning of the story of what transpired from a few weeks back, and the story continues as the big brand PSquare, one of the biggest brands that ever came out from Nigeria, the twin brothers, and now are washed in so many allegations and counter allegations. Follow me as we go into the true story of what transpired. But while that is going on, Peter, one of the twin brothers, had come out to narrate his own side of the story. Now, for want of doubt, Peter took time to explain his side of the story, how it all began. Remember in 2015-16, they had issues, with the PSquare brand. This went their separate ways. And many Nigerians thought they were back for good, especially during the 2023 election campaign for Peter Obi, where they came all out, sang together as a unit, as a duo once again. Amidst all of this, it is now pertinent to say that they may likely not come back, as each of the brothers, the twin brothers, have decided to narrate their story. Let's find out what Peter Okoye, who is the other PSquare, while Paul is the rude boy. Now let's go into the news proper. Now, Peter Okoye of PSquare has challenged his identical twin brother Paul Okoye to produce evidence that he filed a petition to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) against him. The renowned singer stated this in a statement he shared on his Instagram page some few hours ago. Now he said, let me quote him word for word, "I challenge Paul or anyone else to produce any petition that I, Peter Okoye, my management or my legal team ever filed against my twin brother Paul, or that even mentioned his name." He said, let's set the record straight. Together, here is a full statement on the recent EFCC issue involving PSquare and our former manager and elder brother, Jude Okoye. I challenge Paul or anyone else to produce petition that I, Peter Okoye, or my management or my legal team ever filed against my twin brother Paul, or that even mentions his name. Thanks for your patience. He now said, I want to make it clear that I never reported my twin brother Paul to the EFCC. I know many of you were disappointed when Paul accused me of doing so. He mentioned that I wrote a petition against him, which he claimed made the EFCC to ask him to provide a surety. The statement suggested he was detained, which is not true. He said, number one, before I tell you the whole story, here is what I need you all to understand. It's always surprising to me when people say PSquare is always bringing their family matters into the public eye. Let me clarify this. PSquare is not just a family, it's a public brand. But Peter, Paul, Jude, Anita, Ifoma, Lola, and the rest of our family members are family. But PSquare is an entity that belongs to the public as much as it does belong to us. Our fans have played a significant role in our success, so they have the right to know what's happening with their beloved brand, PSquare. That's why it's understandable when certain aspects of our lives are shared publicly. Now let's get straight to the point. I want to make it clear that I never reported my my twin brother Paul to the EFCC. I know many of you were disappointed when Paul accused me of doing so. He mentioned that I wrote a petition against him, which he claimed made the headlines. Now, made the EFCC to ask him to provide a surety. The statement suggested that he was detained, which is not true. Peter, Paul, and Jude own a management company together called Northside Entertainment, which we use to manage all of PSquare's affairs. One day, I discovered another company with a similar name, but this one was called Northside Music instead of Northside Entertainment. Now, this surprised me, so I decided to investigate further. And guess what? To my shock, the founders and directors of this secret company were none other than Jude Okoye and his wife, Ifeoma Okoye, and the registered address was the family home of Jude's wife. Still in shock, I knew I had to talk to Paul about it. I approached him multiple times, at least 4 different times, asked if he knew anything about this secret company and the whereabouts of some of PSquare's royalties. Each time I met with him, he denied knowing anything about it. I want to set the record straight. I hereby challenge Paul or anyone else to show any petition that I, Peter Okoye, ever submitted against my twin brother Paul or that has Paul's name on it. I am still writing this with so much shock because I gave clear instructions to my legal team with a standing order that under no circumstances should Paul be included in my petition. Their focus was to remain solely on the primary suspect, Jude Okoye, and his wife, Ifeoma Okoye, since they were the directors of the secret company Northside Music. Paul's recent interview about the EFCC incident contains a lot of lies. I watched and listened to Paul's interview. I was totally speechless, and I kept asking myself, how does Paul have the audacity to publicly tell lies like this? Even with a respected and reputable agency like the EFCC, he claimed they petitioned him, but that's not something that ever happened to Paul. The truth is, this was something that actually happened to Jude and not Paul. The real story goes back to the shocking discovery I made, but what really got me very upset was finding out that for years, millions of dollars and hundreds of millions of naira were being secretly diverted into this secret company's account, Northside Music, from our own company, Northside Entertainment. This was not just a minor issue. It was a massive betrayal that had been going on for several years. I understand that Paul is angry because I took this matter to the EFCC, and I understand why. However, bearing in mind that I have met Paul and Jude separately and tried to discuss this matter, and it yielded me with no positive answers. In fact, the last time I approached Paul, the conversation got heated up and he said, I quote, "Peter, go and do your worst." At this stage, I was left with no other choice but to report to the authorities and take legal actions. Jude was then detained after being questioned. He came clean and admitted he had been diverting millions of dollars of our money to this secret company that he and his wife were the director of. All of Jude's bank accounts were immediately frozen. He was eventually released on bail after he managed to provide a surety and met the other bail conditions. Meanwhile, further investigations are still going on up till now. Now, Paul's name was never mentioned in the petition because he was never a director of this secret company, unless there is something he is hiding from all of us. Paul was only invited for questioning, just like Jackson Njoko of Iroko TV, Amaju Peniki, and others who had transactional deal and dealings with Northside Music. The EFCC investigation found out that the Northside Music had been secretly collecting PSquare royalties over the years. Now, this royalty money were actually sent to Bureau de Change, then transferred to Jude's personal bank account. A closer look at Jude's account statement revealed that once the money entered his personal account, there were multiple transactions where he was splitting the funds equally with Paul without Peter. Now, this naturally led to some questions. After Jude confessed to diverting the funds, he also told the EFCC that the money he had been sending to Paul for several years weren't about sharing the money behind Peter's back. Instead, it was money he owed Paul from the sale of their house in America, which he was gradually paying back the loan. This is the reason why Paul had been telling everyone that the EFCC had cleared him, as if I ever wanted him to get into trouble with the EFCC. Now, the story is very long, but I will tell it all in due time. For now, I will stop here until EFCC sends the final report to my legal team. Once that happens, before heading to the law court, I will make the exact petition that doesn't include Paul's name public, and I will also release the EFCC final report, receipt, and other documents related to this secret company, including the CAC registration, bank transaction, and bank statement that Jude set up with his wife, Ifeoma Okoye. May God help us all. Now, this has been brewing. Of course, the ex-wife of Paul have decided also to drop a cryptic message amidst all of this drama that has unfolded. And of course, for some of us who have not been following, Paul, who happened to be the one called Rudeboy, has gone ahead and remarried and moved on with his life. But while that is going on, the Okoye's family is trending. And this is the cryptic note she wrote, and I quote, when they mad because they can't figure out how you are still being blessed after they have created fake narratives, lied and slandered your name. And just some few hours ago, actually, the ex-wife of that's Anita Okoye, the ex-wife of Paul, that's Rudeboy, had shared some pictures of her hanging out, herself, her children, hanging out with Peter. And that clears the air to the fact that Peter and Anita are in good, cordial relationship. They seem to be moving on just fine. But the question now is, how did they all get to this level where Jude, who happened to be their elder brother and their manager, invariably, during their time and reign as PSquare, as an entity and as a group, could be found in all of this drama? Well, let's hope and let's wait on and see how the investigation.
Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze.